Good afternoon and welcome to the March edition of Everyone Has a Voice. And this month we are celebrating Women's History Month. We have our features in the house and some people on the open mic, so we're going to have a great day. And I would love to start off the open mic. And as I said, this is Women's History Month, and I have two poems to offer on that. The first poem being Catch-22. And Catch-22, a dilemma or difficult circumstance from which there is no escape because of mutually conflicting or dependent conditions. The day lost as she stood in the middle of the antiseptic aisle, seeing her reflection staring back from an aluminum can, a 46-ounce fruit juice. At that moment, she wished for an out-of-body experience. Was it all in vain? The substance of her being, shell of her innocence cracked, tears pooled beneath, emotions, her essence formed quicksand, slowly pulling, slowly fading life. She wanted to scream, needed to laugh, craved the silence, desired this all for herself. Eyes gaze familiar quiet, soul tattered, concealing broken windows, hum of her existence blends mediocrity into everyday routines. Eat, subsist, authority, invalidate, less is more, give and take, everything we tear down, the ends justify the means. Veins cut points, penetrate deeper, join and return blood to heart. She mouthed an intention. I'm tough, got nails through my palms. I have sinned and forgiven, retrospective love, exquisite process of denial. If things were different, she could have been and her muse aches. Time of day was lost as she stood in the middle of her, sought the child within, fingers lock, eyes meet, reflections collide. She wanted the child, desired the woman. Was it all in vain? Propped up pretty blue, centered in porcelain skin, naked tears wash away implausible hopes. Shadows lay waste to the sound of rain felt every day, eyes indefinable. What if she missed? Off by a hair. The risk was too much. She wanted to scream, needed to laugh, craved the silence, herself, for all this desired. And the second poem is a poem I started writing here. It's called View from the Fire Escape. And it's about 20 pages now, but I've taken all the women in the poem and wrote this poem called View from the Fire Escape, Ladies' Night. Feet dangle off the fire escape, ass embedded through black steel slats. Every few minutes, you adjust. Cold, crisp air rushes through lungs, fighting for space with the smoke from your fifth cigarette. Number 6 is halfway out the pack, and you listen for conversations drifting upwards, and just as quickly, new ones take their place. They're having leftovers across the street. How many different ways can you make chicken? The mysteries of life. Shades half drawn one floor up, naked legs scurry back and forth. Catch a glimpse of a crack in the window. Imagination runs wild, and just left, the lights are out. 3 Stooges on the tube. They make me laugh. And the blue lights mix with the dark. I know where they're going. It just amazes me how someone puts up with that. And you won't see her for a couple of days. Betty waits under streetlight fog, Streetlight tears for the 1020. Works at the Hotel Juniper, 12-hour day, minimum pay, $5 scattered on dresser top. 2 bills, loose change, afterthoughts. Tries to flex disjointed fingers, face stained, cracked, and yellow. Scent of disinfectant fades porcelain skin. Cleanliness is next to godliness. St. Zita's devotion. And Jesse Jazz flies through the air. Damn, that girl can dance. And 3 people watch, then walk away. And Jesse's hat collects small change. And corner stores closing. And I should have got another pack of butts. And here comes old lady Thompson. Been alone for a couple of years and doesn't have much time left, and you can sense sadness even from up here. And the blue lights fade. You won't see him for a couple of days. What an asshole. Told me once his father did the same. Keeps them in line. I don't know who he's trying to convince, him or me. The moon looks lonely watching. Maybe we'll trade stories. I hear the sexy click-clack of high-heeled shoes. I feel her swagger half a block away. Frida flips burgers down at the Ivory Palace, the 24-hour joint that's never closed. Well, only by the Board of Health. I yell, "Hey Frida, how about a date?" And she flips me finger. A rare girl. Silent figure hunches over, eyes her next canvas. Rosario seeks the comfort of chalk, draws on sidewalks, black and white memories brought to life in colors pastel, dreams the restless sleep of wanderers. For the moment, her voice rests here. Sometimes shadows blend in the night, trying to disappear. And Debbie listens for steps, turns her head no matter how quiet. Each flinch reminds her no matter the pain. Paper-thin words trying to close open wounds. Confess to me once. I hear myself argue. I hear myself deny. I hear myself self-destruct. Feels her heart slip out of her hands. Next door, thin walls resonate. Phone rings. Irene answers in Southern Belle. Little girl lost, disguises for Bill as thoughts collect. She's not here. Can I take a message? The tears are real when her voice quivers. God help me. I wonder, does he disguise his voice? Jane summons the determination of balancing life, rising above the fire escape, beyond closed factories, leviathans that swallowed whole families, moments lost between lost identities. She holds memories, clutching Shasta daisies. Watching her, I realize she has the better view. On a park bench hides solitary figure wrapped in yesterday's chaos surrounds. Detached, she is the reincarnation of Betty Davis. Babbles over and over. I am translucent. I am translucent. And Leo waits patiently. Waits for mother's return. His name tucked away behind locked mine doors. Sings lullabies, offers up prayers. Reaches for mother's arms just out of reach. And Maria walks up and down, never crossing the street. Keeps asking me if I want a party. I think she forgot we used to play house when we were kids. Probably wants to forget her childhood altogether. And lights flick on in the kitchen to the right, up 2 floors. Midnight desire, half an apple pie, and a bottle of Pepsi. Emily lives on the other side of the world. We send smoke signals to each other and trust glimpses of ourselves, secrets for safekeeping. Dull brightness seeps out from the left. 3 Stooges. They make us laugh. I'd like to bring up our first person on the open mic, and Pauline Passionate Anderson.
Young black single mothers. Young black single mothers. No one cares. Work 5 days a week, sometimes 6, making breakfast, lunch, do homework, go to PTA meetings. No one cares. Wake up on Saturday morning on her hands on knees, cleaning, cooking, sewing, baking, washing, and ironing. Come Sunday, she dressed her children in their very best. I mean their very best. Go to church, singing, praying, putting her last dime in that collection plate. I mean her last dime. Hoping things will get better. No one cares. Home again, the cycle start all over. Where are those young black single men? Fathers of these young black children. No one cares. No one but these young black single mothers. Losing my innocence. I was 15, happy and bright. I could feel the sunshine, the spring, the joy. I was as innocent as a fresh new flower. Then I saw my mother's face. It was as if I'd never seen it before. Even the color of her skin was different. She looked at me and she said, "Child, I have no choice for what Master wants. I have to bring you to him in the barn tonight." I looked upon her and said, "No, Mama, no," and started crying. She said, "Child, you're not the first and you're not the last. You see, being a woman and a slave is not easy. They make you do things corruptible and ungodly. Then them sit back, smile, and feel good. Honey, all I can say is try not to fight him." I said, "Why, Mama? Why?" She said, "You remember Miss P, daughter?" I said, "Yes, Mama, but she dead." She said, "Is it really kill her? She tried to fight Master one night to blink her head with a stone and kill her." So you see, I'd rather have you alive than dead. Then she took my hand. She said, "Come on, child. Come on. Master is waiting." I began to tremble. Mama left me at the fast door. My heart felt beat faster and faster. I could see Mama covering her eye with one hand and holding her belly with the other. At that moment, I wish I was never born. Then it grabbed me. An hour later, Mama came for me. I felt my whole inside was coming out. I couldn't even say a word. My clothes was all ripped up. I could see Mama picking them up. She said, "Come on, child. It's over and you're safe. Look, Panar." I said, "Yes, Mama. But for how long?"
Thank you very much, Pauline. And our next open mic person would be Mario Malvant.
I'm going to read 2 poems from Pastor Rica, and I'm with one of my own. So those two poems are from the book. We just published it. You don't have your sample. Try it out. So the first one is Day of the Immigrants. Day of the Immigrants. A crowd of immigrants standing with palm branches. Immigrants who work every day as slaves for the economy. Among them were the natural citizens of the land, with higher power over them. I saw the workers with palm branches, asking God to respond to their injustice. God, you are our God, creator of heaven and earth. We want to go to a place where there is no pain. We can no longer exist here on earth. With your grace, let us gaze in heaven's gate. Let us gaze at heaven's gate. Immigrants who are fighting to make life tolerable. Kingdoms who refuse a fair share in the marketplace. I heard a hero wail, living on this earth is a disgrace. Another champion say, let's fight until we get the wages we deserve, equal pay and rights to us all. I approach an immigrant and question, do you think we shall get off this land of despair? Yes, we are God's children, immigrants from all walks of life. We're singing in harmonious tribute. God, you put us here. I saw officers stamp their passports and were told to wait. They had no choice. A long line of immigrants standing at the border carried palm branches, singing and crying in indignation. A man wrapped in the sun said to them, cry no more. I will give you the peace you deserve. A voice in the heavens commands, woe to men who did evil to their likeness. And the second one. Okay. Don't break my heart like this. Do not leave me alone again. My heart breaks. For you, I will walk in the torrential rain, each stabbing drop welcoming. Why do you leave me without speaking? I gave you my heart, the most vital thing for me. We say in heaven we want to be, but envy and jealousy set us apart. Why do you break this heart I give to you? I beg you, keep fighting for our friendship. Why do we pray together? Do you sense why I suffer? I beseech you, stop worshiping vanity. We share divine love. What more would you want? Take this heart and soul. What more can I offer? Don't you know you are better than worldly things? Why do you break my heart, doubt my love? When we are together, it is always with laughter, wanting peace of serenity. This is why I cherish your inner beauty. My love is not for your eyes to betray me. It is not for all the wealth you own. For your soul, the world cannot recognize. When we are together, I cannot feel empty and alone, although you try my patience. Your judgment is near. I am not angry at you. To me, you are the sun and moon. We severed our love with the same spoon. You and I were one. We were the stars. This is how much I loved you. Now you despise me. We used to be close. Always had our secrets to share. And you used them to destroy our friendship. I am hurt because I thought you were my shadow. When you see me now, I am an unknown.
So the author of those two poems, beautifully read by Mario, is Pastor Joseph Polycate.
Hello everyone. Hello. So this is a place that I really love. Since the beginning when we started here, I've been here, I used to wait, but unfortunately I lost my eyes, but that would not stop me from writing. So I'm very delighted that I'm here with you, and I'm happy to see how Philip really motivated young people to continue to read poetry, to continue to work. And I know we have great poets that have been coming here. And I want each one of you who is here today knowing that you are a great poet and God will take you far. Just continue to read. And this is my books, where is it? That Dr. Mario just read from. So it's just coming out. Anybody would like to purchase a copy, it's here. God bless you all.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, this is my poem. It's about love.
We're going to go right in.
The title is Old Lover's Song, Cantique des Vieux Amours. So it has the English part, the French part, and the Creole part, Haitian Creole part. Brown leaves dancing in the wind. Golden rays of sunset behind centennial trees. I walk with you hand in hand, with steady steps, but without guilt. Miles of promenade on our wobbly knees. In the morning, we thank the Lord for yet a new day. No blessing taken for granted. Even the soothing smell of morning coffee or the habitual toast with peanut butter. Sometimes the memories of past loved ones shatter our daily routine, and we cry over them in silence. But we're still here, anticipating the years left on our journey. Who will go first to eternity? Who will enjoy first the bliss of our Lord's kingdom? We will stay behind, trapped in days filled with solitude. Ainsi va la vie. D'une saison à l'autre, nous naviguons sur une mer houleuse, regardant s'égouiner les ans qui s'éparpillent dans l'étendue des rêves oubliés. Le soir nous surprend devant l'écran bleu. Les histoires ne veulent plus rien dire. N'avons-nous pas tout vu? Nous voyons venir de loin les dénouements, comme chaque hiver le frimas de janvier. Nous devinons sans force le mystère des mots feutrés, des dandys, ou la semblance de pudeur des demoiselles. Je décrypte tes soliloques et même les cris étouffés de tes cauchemars. Tu connais les béquilles invisibles qui m'aident à ne pas succomber au charme des crépuscules. Dis-moi un petit mot d'amour, un petit mot qui sortit dans mon cœur, que pas de jamais dit avant. Ou bien faut te dire, même oublier, résume-li, t'en prie. Dis-moi une parole, goudou, ou comme c'est quoi tant pour grand tout cap dans ce cap. M'a fait un casse-tête tourner dans longtemps. Les paupières yeux qu'on prend la tremblade chaque temps regardé. Les tout nan moins dessonnés chaque fois qu'on nous colle. Qui côté frisson nous aller, dans qui pays Freddy excitation nous voyager. en souffler sous différentes passions qui risquent de mourir en bassin, en fait un retour d'âge pour un temps pour déneiger qui fait cramer. Thank you.
So thank you, Mario. And the next person on our open mic, please welcome Amy Woodward.
But since this is send protest postcards to the White House today, I hope you all wrote your postcards and I hope they were mean. Anyway, I thought I'd do this one. It's called Loose Change. Marking someone's place in a 35-year-old paperback copy of Mrs. Dalloway, whose yellowed pages came loose with every turn. A folded pane of 8-cent stamps celebrating progress in electronics, transistors. 8 cents mailed a postcard then. Typewriter keyboards included the cent symbol. 32 postcards never written and mailed. What might they have said, and to whom? What happens to the words we don't say, the connections we never form? Is there room in the cosmos for all of our inchoate messages? Censors and book banners try to smother words we have written, but what of the ones we haven't? Could I use one of those 8-cent stamps now to send a message to someone in the mid-20th century? Someone who peeled away from my life like the pages of that paperback? And would it be delivered? That would be progress.
So thank you, Amy. Thank you to everybody who was on the open mic. Pauline, Mario, Pastor Polycape, and Amy. And so we are on to our features, and I am very excited to present the next feature, our student feature. And as we know, it is Women's History Month, and you are about to see the future. Please welcome Sophia Mohammed. Welcome to Everyone Has a Voice, the March edition. And today we will be speaking with Sophia Mohammed, who will be our student feature poet. Welcome, Sophia.
Thank you.
Couple questions we have. We're going to do a little interview before her feature. And the first question is, when did you realize you wanted to be a writer?
I realized I wanted to be a writer when I noticed that not a lot of people hear the voice when it's needed. I was not listened to. I was a very soft-spoken child. So when it came time to actually express myself, I didn't know how because not a lot of people paid much mind until I started to write. And when somebody reads or listens to you reading something, they actually listen. So when I noticed that people can actually learn and can be inspired by what I do as a writer, it truly made me fall in love with writing and with poetry.
Very nice. And so the second question is, what does your family think of your writing?
My family really supports me in all of this. They are very happy that I do poetry. Some of my pieces they may not be entirely fond of, but my mother has my entire support. She loves most of my poems, and she truly makes me believe that I can write everything. My father as well. My father listens, he understands, and he also helps me grow with this as well.
Nice. And you're very lucky to have such a supportive family. So the third question would be, has your idea of poetry changed since you began writing?
Not much. I mean, from the first time I started writing, and the first time I was introduced to poetry, I always thought it had to be rhyming. I thought that it had to have metaphors and similes. It couldn't be something that I could see myself expressing. But when I figured out what slam poetry is, freelance poetry, when I figured out that poetry is an expression of emotion and not an expression of the physical form, when I figured out that poetry can be me, it changed my perspective, and that's when I started doing poetry, actually.
So that leads us to the next question, which is, what are the most surprising emotions you have learned from writing your poetry?
The most surprising would have to be nostalgia. I never thought I could feel memories from poetry, but then I was listening to Islam poetry about childhood, and it made me look back on mine. I felt memories and I felt emotions that have been buried away, and I never thought I'd feel those again until I listened to that poem. So the most surprising would have to be nostalgia.
Okay. And what's the one question you wish an interviewer would ask you?
How does it feel being a woman poet and so young? How does it feel to be not just a woman, but a child doing poetry? And if I were to answer that, it feels empowering. Being able to reach out to a young audience, being able to reach out to the woman audience and the adult audience at the same time is something, it makes you feel very, very important. It makes you feel like you can be somebody that can change somebody's perspective on the world. It can make you feel, it can make you inspire women, inspire young children to pick up poetry or to read poetry in school, and it can empower adults to change their perspective on the world or change their perspective from what it once was. It's amazing.
You are wise beyond your years. Thank you for this wonderful interview.
Thank you.
And we look forward to your reading in a little while. So, thanks a lot.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Sophia. I am a student in the Christ Charter, and for y'all, I have 4 poems. One of them is another voice. The first one I will be reading to you all today is The Last Text. I love you, Mama. Is the last text I dread to send to my mama. However, I don't think I'll be able to do that when the time comes. Constant worry is something I've grown accustomed to. The constant worry is not what you may think it is. My constant worries and deadlines, bus stops, or school lunch, yet it has to do with the fear of never seeing anyone from my family or friends again. I fear for my chained life within these so-called free streets and soil, burying that fear so I can learn something to pass a test that distracts me that at some random moment my sisters could die. I prayed for every minute of the day, but even now that's risky, as I cannot risk losing my focus on school. School does not stop when your heart does. They always tell you to focus on work, to focus on studies, to focus. How can I focus on algebra when I'm already calculating the fastest route to get my ass out of school? They say to be focused, yet I'm focused on what I need to do to ensure I am safe, when that was supposed to be the last thing on my mind. I'll continue to work. I'll continue working. Because Lord knows what will happen if you stop for even a second. But maybe we can also choose, if this day comes, to give our children the chance to send the last text. The second one is called I Pledge by Silence. Excuse me for being so bold, but where did we go wrong? As a child, I remember green grass summer days. I remember hardships. I remember, what do I remember? The main thing I remember is I pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As these words surround this unchained country, I always wondered how much of this pledge is actually true. So let us say the American, free, unchained, and oh so very true, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge my silence and slow loss of voice to the United States of America and to the tragedy for which it stands, one nation under God, separated by backgrounds with fear and justice for all. This is not the vision I had when I envisioned the world my children will live in. Third one is named Curiosity's Price. Open curiosity comes at a price. Let me say it again. Curiosity comes at a price. The price of social acceptance. And this quote only applies to those who are already socially accepted, who already yet choose, who are already socially rejected, yet choose to continue to strive for greatness. If you are in a room full of red people, yet you have so many other colors to show, you actively become an unwanted, wanted person. If you share green, they'll say that isn't red. If you share purple, they'll say that isn't my color. If you share any other culture that it does not pigmentate their colors, they will say you are different, therefore I am entitled. Sound familiar, doesn't it? Let me repeat. You are different, therefore I am entitled. I am entitled to judge you, to poke at you, to be a little whisper in the back of your head, making you doubt your abilities as a human. Only if you let me. These things can only take action if you let them. God bless every human with the desire to learn and the curiosity to explore. Yet we believe that the same curiosity we were gifted must only be shown if you are red. Curiosity was a gift sprouted from intellect, yet society continues to make embracing curiosity and having it accepted a privilege. The last one, my name. My name holds power. It is a common name found often, yet my name holds power because I chose to give it meaning. I chose to make my name powerful. My name is a woman who has braved storm bigger than herself, waves that crashed and struck like lightning, yet she got up every time. My name is a little girl who roams through flower fields, chasing the butterflies and making flower crowns as she twirls in her poofy dress. A little girl who runs to mommy when sad, and to daddy to play in the backyard on sunny days, yes. My name is a little girl. My name is a warrior who fights for her voice, a warrior who had to fight for her voice, a warrior who needed to protect instead of being protected, a warrior who was broken time after time again, weak time after time again, yet won the war. Yes, my name is a warrior. My name is me, a series of events growing, flowing river, a garden filled with thriving flowers, from the smallest petal to the biggest sunflower. My name holds power, yes. My name is me. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Sophia. And what were you writing when you were 16 years old? I know I wasn't writing that. So this brings us to our feature, and I am very excited to hear her words and what she has to present to you. She will introduce herself because I don't want to screw up her name. She will walk up here with dignity and please welcome.
My name is Mama Kana Onifade.
So welcome to Everyone Has a Voice, the March edition. And this month we will be celebrating Women's History Month. And our feature will introduce herself.
Sure, Mama Kana Onifade.
And we're going to ask her some questions before her feature.
Okay, great.
The first question being, what early experience taught you that language had power?
So I would say my earliest experience was reading poetry and this understanding that poetry and words are everlasting. And some of the great poets, that I have, grown to love, have always had this sense of quiet power that leaves you with their imprint in text. And that's what motivated me to start to really write in the way that speaks to love, that speaks to social justice, and speaks to hope.
Very good. All right.
Thank you.
How about the second question being, so how long did it take you to start sharing your poetry?
Sure. So, believe it or not, maybe like most young poets, I started writing about love. And so I would say that brings me to being like 13 years old and writing love letters. And then later on, when I got into activism, I would say about 1997, 98 is when I went to a poetry reading that had an open mic. Aguni Ike, Galleria located in Boston, is no longer there. But that is when I was encouraged to continue to write. So about 1997.
So, very nice. So, from 13 to now,
yes.
How has your writing evolved over the years?
Sure. I think number one, it's about looking at the human condition. I was 13, I was writing about the human condition of love, new love. But, as I got older and got more political, then I began to look at the everyday life of oppression, racism, and started realizing that we can have a voice, even in the midst of, despair. And so I think my poetry has evolved because it takes time to find your own voice. I do believe in poetry by way of prose, so not everything that I write rhymes, but I do find simplicity in trying to rhyme about critical incidences in life. And so my poetry tends to be, when it comes to rhyming schemes, really simplistic rhyming schemes, but to have a great impact, on the matters of the heart.
Okay. So, on another question would be, what are some of the influences that inspire you as an individual?
Sure. So I would have to always start with my parents. So my father was an activist in Boston who was really a profound member of our community. He fought against the busing. He fought against the issues in South Boston. He fought against falsely accused individuals. He taught karate in our basement to young people for self-defense. And so I grew up in that environment. And so my father has paid, Larry Gaines, he has paid a great deal. He died later on, of course, to Alzheimer's, but he left a legacy that I believe that young people deserve second and third chances. And he taught me that, our community is beautiful and it's worth fighting for.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Last question.
Sure.
What is the one question that you wish an interviewer would ask you?
Wow, that's a great question. I think it would be what motivates me to continue to fight with the pen would be the question. And how, yeah.
And the answer would be?
Absolutely. The answer would be hope. That, when times are tough and you feel that there's no way out, it's the power of hope that keeps me writing. And I'll talk a little bit about that during this event, because at one point I didn't believe that I could write again. And so there was something that happened that we can share later. But thank you so much for this opportunity. I think young people also motivate me to write. When I see the fighters of this generation, it gives me great hope that we're in good hands.
You will see that with our student feature, Sophia.
Absolutely,
yep.
Absolutely. So
it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Being with you.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to your reading.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
And it's always a pleasure to be in Brockton. And if it wasn't for hope, which is a double right way of saying it. If it wasn't for hope, I wouldn't be here. But it wasn't for Hope Fernandez, who is a dear friend of mine, who also is a staff member at, is it New Heights? New Heights. And that's where I met this poet. And I told her that she had to continue to write. So it's only by divine intervention that we are here today. It's wonderful. It's about, young poets. I was saying in the interview, one of the reasons that keeps me writing is looking at young poets, young activists like yourself, who we are in good hands with you. Absolutely. So here today, I love the solidarity. Oftentimes when I come to share my writing, I try to bring along this sense of community. And it's only by divine, intervention. This word called coincidence. That word is not in every language. And there's a reason for that. Oftentimes we think of coincidences, but my belief system says otherwise. It means that there's a synchronicity that happens when you are working with the cosmos, with the universe, to make things happen. And so when I saw the doctor coming up here, reading someone else's poetry, I was like, oh, I'm going to be doing the same thing. When I saw the young activists talking about injustices, I was like, oh, I'm going to be doing the same thing. So it's all about the connections with poets and with activists, that we are together, we are unified. And so I'm happy to be here. And I also, heard a few profane words. I said, oh, I have some poetry with some profane words as well. So it's all related. It's all related. So I want to start with a piece that I, just finished writing, literally. And so we have this opportunity to look at connections. And so as a former English teacher, there's always this sense of poets and writers before us. And William Shakespeare has my birthday and my death date. Well, not mine, but his. He was born, knock on wood. I am still here, that's for sure. So April 23rd was William Shakespeare's birthday and his death date. And that's also my birthday. And so it's not a coincidence that today is also March 15th, which is the Ides of March. So, when Shakespeare wrote the great poem or story, Julius Caesar, right? It was the soothsayer, right? The seer who saw Julius in the marketplace and it was like, beware of the Ides of March. And that was, being pompous, like Julius Caesar was, he was like, what does this person know about anything? Well, that soothsayer, that seer, person who was clairvoyant, was telling him, beware of your death date. So today is also March 15th, the Ides of March. And so I'm here to proclaim the death of the government that we still are under, right? I'm here to proclaim the death of this oppression that is still trying to beat us back. But the reality is that when there is death, there is life. And I'm here to proclaim that we will continue to fight. And so when we talk about death, something that I think this current administration thought was going to happen was that DEI would DIE. And that is the furthest from what is happening. And so when I was here a few weeks ago or last month for Black History Month, I had said that I was working on this piece. And so on the Ides of March, in solidarity with William Shakespeare, in solidarity with the soothsayer that warned Julius Caesar of his death, I'm here to warn corporate greed of its death. And so with that piece, I will start with DEI will not DIE. So it's a work in progress. So I come from the idea and the legacy that Langston Hughes and other great poets from the Harlem Renaissance would get together in small spaces like this and would workshop their work and just to try it on and see where things are heading. And so I just pretty much inked this morning, so I'm still working on it. But I thought it was enough to share and to inspire us to continue to fight. DEI will not DIE. Diversity, equity, and inclusion will never die. We will always rise and multiply in these financial streets. The people have decided to reconvene and rename DEI. D for divest, yes, I said it. The common folk can divest by no longer buying from corporations where black money is not green. E for encouraging national boycotts. Target is first up on the bullseye scene. I for invest in black businesses directly in order to intervene. Yes, I said it. DEI will never die. But let me get this straight. So Target made a mistake to underestimate when black people demonstrate. Target thought they could roll back DEI policies without repercussions. And now they face lawsuits from stockholders for lack of discussions. National boycott, February 28th, the date that marked Target's fate. Stocks plummeted, 12.4 billion in market value lost, to be exact. Was it worth the cost, Target? And this is just the beginning of people winning. Now Reverend Brian's up calling for 40-day Target fast. 40 days and 40 nights sound familiar. Our staying power to resist will continue to last. March 5th to April 17th, yes, it's not too late to participate by withholding back your cash. Other corporations, you cannot hide. For there's a list of 30 the last time I checked. For we will come for you as well, while our pride is high and the tide is on our side. So you thought DEI would DIE? You thought that diversity would die? Never, ever. We will always rise and call to action until our satisfaction, bringing corporate slave masters to their knees. We will always rise and multiply in these financial streets. The people have decided to reconvene and rename DEI. D for divest. I said it at my best. No buying from corporations where black money ain't green. E for encouraging national boycotts, you see? Target the bullseye, that's who first is up. I for investing in black businesses directly. You understand, we have intervened and reconvened. DEI will never die. Thank you. So it's really about, how do we vote with our feet, right? And how do we vote with our cash? And so I was really surprised with this February 28th. I was like, so the nation is going to come out and do something that can actually hurt their pockets. So the outcome, once again, I was inspired. I said, okay, we're in good hands. We're in good hands. So this other piece is about why I stopped writing, right? There was a time when I stopped. And once again, sometimes there's this sense of synchronicity, if you will. And it was, I would say, like a shock, I think. Because there was only 2 days between Trayvon Martin, who was only 17 years old, on February 26, 2012, when George Zimmerman, a vigilante of sorts, neighborhood watchdog of sorts, murdered an unarmed black boy. And so we started doing this work around activism. I was still working in the school system. My daughter was 12 and my son was 10. And at that point, it was an experience for my children to see what justice and fighting for justice could do. So I was very hopeful. But when my father passed 2 days later, I was like, how can we use that energy to move in the streets? And so as an administrator for an alternative program similar to New Heights, Boston Day and Evening Academy, we rallied and we really fought hard in the streets to say that, listen, young people, this could galvanize you into your own way of activism. And so I often remember being very hopeful, at that time. And so then when the verdict came, I said to myself, can this be real? That once again America said, no, this black boy's life is not worth it. And so this is a poem that I started writing in December of 2024, actually. And I was like, I've been trying to write this poem about what happened to me as a poet. And like, what happened to me as an activist and as a mother and as a daughter of a father who was my first hero, the first person that I ever saw fight in the streets when I was growing up. And I said, what happened to me? And so what happened was grief and disbelief and the reality that America, with 3 Ks versus a C in her name, would never, ever think that a black boy deserved freedom. That was the time I was in. And so I stopped writing. I was broken-hearted. And so this is a poem that I said to myself, okay, we're coming up on 2025. Let's deal with this issue of a clipped heart and a clipped voice. And so it's not necessarily titled yet. It's another workshop. I think I have it as a love letter to Trayvon Martin. And so one thing that my father used to say, he would say that love heals. And my daughter has it tattooed on her wrist. And so I said to myself, I need to get that as well. It says love heals. So dedicated to Trayvon Martin, inspired by my father. All there is love. We will write for love. Love of struggle, love of voice, love of breath. Love of life, we will write for love. Love of revolution, love of blackness, love of identity, love of self-determination, Kujichagulia, love. We only have love, and we will write love of family, love of connectedness, for all there is love. And in the absence of love, well, it can stop a writer from writing. I stopped writing. When America, KKK, proved once again that she doesn't love black boys, it was in the absence of justice. It was in the presence of injustice that my heart was broken. Broken just like this system. I wanted to avoid another broken heart, so I stopped. I stopped and the pen dried up. I stopped and my voice dried up. I stopped and I could no longer see hope. There was only the struggle. I remember I Am Trayvon Martin, the black hoodies galvanizing young and old to the streets. The protests, I saw my son, I saw my daughter protesting for the first time. I saw hope. So I thought maybe this time it would be different in front of my children. Maybe. This time would be different. In front of the TV, the verdict showed otherwise. And I felt angry. Black bodies don't matter. In front of my children, black bodies don't matter. And then I heard, love heals. And then I knew to love is political. to love despite a human condition is revolutionary. Amongst the modern day lynching, to love is political. To love despite human conditions is revolutionary. And so then I saw the responsibility to write all there is love. I decided not to die. I decided to love. I decided to resuscitate my love to fight with my pen as the weapon and the voice, because no one else will save me. No one else will unchoke me. It is the pen as the surgeon. And so the pen, my voice, the needle, the thread, to sew my heart back again. The pen became the surgeon. I operated on myself and gritted and bared and gritting. It is the pen. Just like Nina Simone, when she wrote, "The King of Love is Dead," she sung that song with the blood of Dr. King still fresh where he laid. If she can sing, then I can write. All there is love. We will write for love. Love of struggle, love of voice, love of breath, love of life. We will write again for love. Love of revolution, love of blackness, love of identity, love of self-determination, Kuchi Chakalia, love for family, love for connectedness, for all there is love. Absolutely, right? Absolutely. And you know, it's when you decide to die that life is over. But as long as you have your clear mind, as long as you have your heart that races, as long as you have your hands and you have your feet, the fight will never, never stop. So, you know, I said I wrote about love. You know, I don't know if this is, if those stories were love, but that's love for me. That we will always continue to go beyond the sadness. But I actually do have, you know, a love poem. This is one that is dear. My husband here is today. So Yahan Siruni Fade, thank you for being here to support the work that we do. I'll be honoring us with a few pieces about our family. So this is a poem that we actually created with some music behind it and have it today. You know, there's always this sense of love gone wrong, or love and you realize that like the one that you have is the one that you should be with, and that this other, you know, man or woman coming around you will always just bring the sadness at the end because you thought it was greener on the other side. So this is about that kind of love. It's entitled, I Remember Those Days. Before you came, I always thought the rain and melancholy were just the same. But then you came and changed my mind the first time we made love. See, the rain became our splendid aphrodisiac. The drops would fall outside, yet you would rise between my thighs. The rolling thunder would hide our melodies of ecstasy. My symphony would rush all over you, washing all over me. And as we laid in placid solitude, my head nestled on your chest, we would begin to rest and watch the rain fall as we drifted into dreams. Now it's funny how time fades, sunshine memories replaced with indigo blues. See, I knew our love was drifting, slipping fast like sand in an hourglass. He reappeared from my past life, wanting what we once had, wanting what was now yours. I should have known he could never be you, but I let his sweet honeysuckle words tickle my tongue, mesmerizing my mind, body, and soul. Yet like the setting of the sun, he too subsided, leaving me empty and cold. So I prayed and prayed that you would never notice, hoping the rain could restore us once again. But as for you, it was evident in your eyes that you had found another. And as the tips of your fingers traced my face, your disenchantment lingers, for you no longer saw forever. And I knew the rain could no longer be our redemption. In between the lies and deception, that stormy midnight you said goodbye, I ran after you, but you just kept on walking. I screamed after you, but you just kept on walking, and the rain just kept on pouring. I ran back, bracing myself, trying to slow down my broken breath, my broken heart, and I ran inside, pushing my back against the door, crying in solitude, never to see you anymore. Now the melancholy and indigo are synonymous with rain once again. See, I remember those days when you and I would watch the rain fall against the window, missing your smile and missing your style, and all the while hoping you would return. For I have learned that the love we created can never be duplicated. I've learned that the love created could never be duplicated and replicated. I just need you again and the rain to wash over me again. See, I remember those days when the melancholy and the indigo were just the same. Yet I will never know if I will see you through my window. Yet I remember those days. And, sometimes love doesn't always end in the way that it should, right? But it's those things. You make these tough decisions, and then you see what the outcome is. So sometimes you have to be careful when it comes to the heart, and make sure that you value the ones in front of you at all times if you can. So this next piece, I would like to call on, is the doctor still here? Yes? Is he here? Was he the doctor who was here who was speaking? He was
Yes,
with the minister, but is he still here?
Just about, yes.
Okay. Maybe when he comes back, he can do this poem with me. I always love to have a person who speaks either, preferably Haitian Creole, to join. So we'll see if he can come back. If not, I'll do it solo, but I like to include folks when I can. All right, very good. We'll see if he can come back. All right, in the meantime, I wanted to, yes, okay, he's coming back, okay. I wanted to read a couple of poems from a person that I know who, how can I say this? It's a person that I know that I admire their work. Let's put it to you that way. And so she gave me permission to read some of her poetry. So, in full disclosure, she is a transgender woman, right? But yet, sometimes people in certain communities, they take back language that may be controversial. So, you know, the word transvestite is something that these days we do not use, but when people from that community use it, we have to honor the reason why they're using it. They're taking a word back for their own. And so I have this zine, you know, she's younger, so I have this zine by her. And it's, you know, kind of old school, even though she's kind of young. So poems by a manic depressive transvestite. I know, I hear you, it's like crazy. But I really appreciate poems from diverse communities that have something to say. And they say it in a way that makes sense. And they say it in a way that adds power. So I wanted to just honor her by reading 2 poems from the zine. And for the young folks, I actually have how you can go to her website and also look it up. All right, so I said, okay. So I asked permission if I could read a couple of pieces from the zine. So poems by a manic depressive transvestite. She goes by Kate Davies is her name. Okay, so I wanted to, okay, I'll do a short one, and maybe I'll do this other one that I really like. All right, so background is that she's from Fall River. So this is a short one. Being Fall River rich. When I see that title, I'm like, yep, being Dorchester rich, being Roxbury rich. So there's a thing about what is rich. Being from the urban communities in Massachusetts, people have their own way. People call it hood rich, right? So she's come up with being Fall River rich. Being Fall River rich is living in a house that doesn't have asbestos and black mold assaulting your lungs every time you sleep. It's having enough money to eat more than Spam and ramen and hot dogs and beans before your EBT rolls around again. It's having a year-long lease for a room that can fit a bed, a TV, a desk with a window that has not been painted shut by the impatient 16-year-old brother of your 18-year-old landlord. Wow. It's a working stove and modern electrical wiring and a toilet that does not feel like it would come undone if you get up too fast. It's going 3 months without seeing a single cockroach or silverfish or maggot infestation in your building. It's a pack of American spirits in your pocket, menthol from across the Rhode Island border, an eighth of weed your friend gave you, and a 4 local to make you forget how far below the rest of society you truly are, and still having a, I don't know what this word is actually, protuged bankroll on your dresser, enough to get breakfast at 4 a.m. tomorrow. Being Fall rich is being able to live with a roof over your head and knowing it's going to still be there tomorrow. Yeah. Absolutely. This last one. So, I think because I heard some profanity, I think this is the one I can do. All right, this is a good one. Either that one or the bugs. Okay, let's see. Give me a moment. No, I do want to do this one. Where's the thinking of this? All right, excellent. So, Kate Davies, she writes about being a transgender woman. She writes about how society can divide the transgender community. She writes about mental health concerns. You heard that she wrote about living in Brockton, or Fall River rather. So this is called Meat. This is like a horror story, but it's not that long, so just bear with me. It's a social commentary on what happens when other transgender members of the community turn their back because they want to be accepted in the heterosexual or cisgender community, and what happens when they don't fight for other people in the transgender community. And so she's called Meat. And so she danced for the cisgender people with grace, and she never drops her voice. She's skinny and white and has no real challenging viewpoints whatsoever. She smiles and shrinks and comes in with as much manufactured pluck as you can bow and kiss the hand of every priest and rabbi and veteran and all of the stock characters of Americana to be its star-spangled sweetheart. A wonderful little transgender the heartland can rally behind. So pretty and so beautiful that even old Karens who think hating your husband is a fact of life love her. So when the tranny comes in and everyone mocks her, she says nothing. Or she nods and cringes and tries to signal to all the other cis people who built her career up that she's not like that, for God's sake. She's not one of those people. She's just a normal woman who's a little bit different. So she flinches and watches as they let her end up on the street, and they look different and turn away while they form the most virtuous of theater. They talk of microaggressions and mansplaining and the male privilege that the ugly transvestite really has while she lies there, caged in the sideshow, a hunger artist for love. And she dies, of course. And then they all take a moment to mourn her, and they all go on their way talking about how accepting and nice they are for taking in the sweetheart. The sweetheart is one of them, and we love her so much. She's like anyone else, and we just can't get enough of her. She's so funny and sweet and plucky, and we all want her. We all want her all the time, and we just can't fucking get enough until they do. And they start to notice the sweetheart has a long face and a voice that's a little deeper, and an Adam's apple she doesn't want to get rid of. And when is she getting bottom surgery? You know, it's been a while, and we're giving you time, but you just don't have it. And you're so obsessed with passing that you don't notice that even if you're pretty, we can all fucking tell. We can always tell. I thought the goal was for you to not be able to let us tell anymore. That's why we threw the tranny out and we kept you. But you're still a little bit of a tranny. You're not supposed to be a tranny after a while. You're supposed to at least look like a woman. So they grab her. She tries to dance and sing and joke, but they grab her. All of the people who she thought loved her grabbed her with as much force as they can, and they stick her feet first into the wood chipper. And she starts singing Ave Maria as beautifully as she can, and she sticks her hands out while she's being turned into dog meat for the pests and the priests and the rabbi and the general. The dogs and cats and pigs and livestock all come to eat at the maw of the chipper. And the song is so beautiful that all the heartland cries for her as she's fed, a tragedy, one they must never repeat again. She sings even with her chest and lungs being grounded up. And as her head is the only thing poking out of the very top, she manages a single solitary "fuck you." And they were so struck by the audacity that they forgot her name. On her grave, they called her dog meat. The shit of animals that ate her was used to fertilize the community garden. And that is it, meat. So, you know, these commentaries, right, about social ills, if you will, when people are not speaking out for one another, but also the social ill of trying to fit in. That in itself is a social ill. And so when we talk about these political ideas of embracing everyone, this is her testimony that says, listen, we as transgender community, they need to stick together. So thank you for letting me share from that poet. And so as I conclude, yes. So, in solidarity, right? I know I caught you on the spot, but this is a piece that is about the not the most recent earthquake of Haiti, but the one in 2010. Okay, and so what I always like to do, if I can, is have someone read the Creole while I read the English. Okay, excellent. So in solidarity, this is called Haiti, My Love. And I have it as a two-poem translation in Haitian Creole, if I can ever find someone when I read it. And so we're gonna try it. Okay, excellent. So basically we have to share. It's a communal experience. Right, so as I'm reading English, you'll be able to then translate it to Creole. So I'm gonna read it.
Why are you reading?
So you'll have a chance, right? So I'm gonna read it in English, and then you read it in Creole. You understand what I'm saying? Can you translate on the spot? Can you try your best?
I'll try.
Okay, that's it. All right. Haiti, my love, birthplace of freedom and revolution. If it wasn't for Allure Arbiter, the slave master would have ruled for longer. Yet, we were stronger, sent the oppressors running for their lives as we manifested independence to arrive.
Haïti, mon amour, côté liberté faite avec révolution. Si ce n'est pas pour tous en ouverture, mettre esclaves, t'as continué pour un peu de temps. Mais quand il y a un pays fort, nous voyons que ça y aller. Y aller au courir pour vivre et nous manifester indépendance.
Yet through the struggle of freedom we survived, and we will rise again. We will rebuild these hills that have fallen. We will rise again.
À travers la bataille pour liberté, nous suivons et nous levé camper encore. Nous reconstruit montagne qui est tombée. Et nous remonter encore.
For January 12, 2010 will never be forgotten. The day the earth quaked and shook underneath our feet.
Parce que le 12 janvier 2010, nous ne pouvons jamais oublier ça. Le jour ça, côté que terre a tremblé et que l'idée tremblé en bas de
Yet we will never settle for defeat or embrace fear. For amongst the trouble and the concrete rubble, our neighbors and strangers, our heroes and everyday warriors, would not rest until they dug deep with their bare hands and hearts to find our mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, sisters, brothers, nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, husbands, wives, cousins, friends, community leaders, and school teachers.
Nous ne sommes jamais d'accord à des fêtes et nous ne sommes jamais dans la peur ou bien des fêtes. Parce que dans le mi-temps, tout problème, dans le mi-temps, béton, dans le mi-temps, nous avons voisins, étrangers, héros et guerriers, nous ne pas proposer jusqu'à ce que nous levions tout début avec main. Et dans le cœur, nous avons besoin de maman, papa, grand-mère, grand-père, soeur, frère, nièce, neveu, tante, mon oncle, mari, madame, cousins, amis, tout chef communauté avec tout professeur d'école.
Those still alive embody gratitude in their eyes and hope on their faces, for they have been blessed with God's graces.
Tout le monde sait que nous vivons et puis il y a une reconnaissance en Dieu et puis il y a un espoir sur le visage parce que nous bénis avec grâce mon Dieu.
For in trial and tribulations, there are always celebrations, our faith that can never be broken. And for those who have not been spoken of, we pray that they have entered heaven's door.
Parce que dans le problème avec la tribulation, toujours gagner célébration. Célébration foi nous qui ne va jamais craser. Et pour tout ça, que nous ne va pas parler de nous encore. Nous crier que nous entrer dans le porte ciel.
They tell us don't cry for us anymore because their spirits are still with us. And they will be our guides as we strive and survive, singing to the skies. Haiti, my love, Haiti, my love, we will rise, we will rise. We will rebuild these hills that have fallen.
Je dis nous pas crier encore, pas crier pour nous encore, parce que l'esprit est toujours avec nous. Et il guide nous, et il y a une bataille pour survivre. Et a chanté à ciel. Haïti, l'amour moins, Haïti, l'amour moins. N'a pleuvé, n'a pleuvé, n'a pleuvé pour nous rebâtir. Rebâtir montagne ça qui est tombée.
Haïti. We will restore our rightful place of honor, for we are determined, for we are strong, for we are beautiful, for we have faith. Forever live, Haiti, my love. We will rise, my love. We will rise.
N'a pas refait et n'a pas aucune place pour nous. Parce que nous déterminés, parce que nous forts, parce que nous belles, parce que nous avons la foi. Que Haïti vive pour tout le temps l'amour. N'a levé l'amour, n'a levé.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know if I have time for one more. No? Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
So what a special day. I want to thank everyone who participated, all our people on the open mic, our wonderful features. One announcement, April 5th is going to be a special day at the Brockton Library. We have 18 poet laureates from across Massachusetts who are going to be here. Reggie Gibson will be the host and moderator, so the poet laureates will read their poems. We're going to give them up to 5 minutes. Reggie and I have made up some questions for them, so we'll have a question and answer with Reggie, and then we're going to open the floor up to the audience and they can ask questions of the poet laureates. So that's going to be in the Lindis Auditorium, April 5th at 2 o'clock. And it's going to be an amazing day, and we are going to start at 2 o'clock because it's going to be a long day. So thank you to all, and we will see you next month. Thank you.